What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. I'm one of your hosts, Izzo, and I'm excited about today's show. We got the wonderful Ramaya in the building. He's going to be talking to us about how to monetize your content. We know content is king when it comes to social media. So what are we going to learn today about upping our game, earning some money on our content, and just making sure we're putting out the right things? So Ramaya, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Imperfect Action, this is the show we talk to 6, 7, 8 figure earners about how they took imperfect action in their business to become successful, some challenges, some pitfalls, and also some success stories. So, I want to kick it off and just introduce you to the audience. Like I said, it's Ramaya, y'all. Where did you get started? Where are you from? And talk to us a little bit about how you started with content and web automation.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm currently in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Nice.
So thank God for the internet and Zoom and virtual events and stuff and things like that, so I can connect, all over the world. But I got started in digital marketing back in 2000. Nothing behind it, just straight up 2000. I took a class in college, learning how to build websites. I fell in love with it. The first website I built was absolutely trash, but I liked it and I kept building and I kept building and I got good. And then somebody offered to pay me one time for a website, and I was like, I can make money doing this. And the light bulb went off. And so I started a business and started doing it. I kind of went legit like in 2009. And then I went full time back in 2015. I went full time and I've been full time ever since. Did my first six figures my first year, and I didn't even know what six figures was, but I just kind of had my head down, was grinding, and I looked up and I looked at my numbers. I was like, dang, I did 100K. I did six figures, and haven't looked back since then. And so it started with web design, and then you realize that websites are cool, but what good is a website without traffic? Like, what's the purpose of the website? To monetize and help a business to grow. So I got more into digital marketing, content, automations, funnels, and things like that to really help businesses move the needle.
Wow. And I think it's so dope that your journey started in 2000 because nowadays, especially with social media, things at our fingertips, people are feeling like entrepreneurs are popping up and becoming, six-figure earners, $1 million earners overnight. And that's not really the reality of this game. Like you got skin in the game. We're talking 23 years just owning and understanding your craft and being on this journey. And like you said, yes, you made a six-figure income in your first year doing it, but you had the grind behind it. So talk to us about what that process looked like in terms of like really just going hard, putting your head down and just getting into the game.
Yeah, so like 2015 I went full time June, July of that year. That was a really rough year. Was going through some things with my family, with my marriage, and it was because I had this entrepreneur thing inside me, and I was like, it's gonna work. Trust me, it's gonna work. But as a female, it's like, show me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I hear you, but I don't see it. And so I really had to like grind and put my head down. But it took me getting a mentor, right? It really took me investing into myself, getting a mentor, really learning the ins and outs of business and what it takes to be successful. And one of the key principles I learned was having extreme focus and
Mm,
focusing on one thing until it's done. Because as an entrepreneur, we want to do this, we want to do this. We have all these ideas and we never finish them. We start a bunch of stuff and we never finish, and we wonder why we don't reach a level of success. But I learned how to sit still. It's uncomfortable, but you just sit still and you complete a project. You move to the next project, complete that project, move to the next one. And that was kind of like my journey to getting consistent. And then I learned how to use the internet to start reaching more clients. And that's when the thing got crazy. That's when I started coaching. That's when I started being on Zoom calls and on StreamYard and things like this. And where it's like, you really, not the name of my business is Design Baton Rouge. I was thinking local, but I'm
mm,
like, I haven't done a project. Maybe 10% of my business is in Baton Rouge now, because the world is wide open.
right.
So the internet changed the game.
Yes, for sure. Wow, wow. You said in that, just in that moment, there were a couple of key points that I want to touch on for the audience because I think they're incredibly important when it comes to entrepreneurship in this journey. And the first one is you were in, like within your marriage having sort of that tension happening because we're living in our dream, right? Like we're walking in our purpose, our vision. We see this thing, we want to go hard, we know it's going to work, we just don't know how or when, right? But we know the why. And so you talked about being in this, marriage and saying, yo, it's coming. I promise you it's coming. Just wait on it. And it's going to happen. And I think far too often people right now in their journeys, if they're with a partner who may not understand the process or what's really going on behind the curtain, they tend to get lost. So what's some tips you can give to those who are in partnerships right now, whether they're in marriages or they're just dealing with their life partner or whatever we have for the name of this game these days, and they're having a challenge kind of like getting through to the person that, you know what, this is going to work. I know it's going to work. I'm skin in the game. Just, bear with me on it. Like, what was that conversation like, and how did you break through that point?
Yeah, so I think if I gave you my route, you wouldn't want to take my route because my route ended up in a 6 month separation. But I learned a lot from that. And what I would say is be transparent. Like be share your wins. When you get wins, share them with your spouse or your partner. Let them know, hey, this is what I'm working on. I know this is what we need to do. Show them the game plan. Like if you know you got to come up with 5K, 10K a month or whatever that is, show them the game plan and also have a backup plan. I know they say only plan A, no plan B. Now you got to have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Like it's got to work. And show them I'm putting in the work and this is the fallback. If the work don't work, this is what I'm going to do. Because you got to build that trust. And until that trust is built, like you have to show it to prove it.
Right. Absolutely. And I say too, to add on that, on the reverse side, if you're the other person in the situation, you're not the entrepreneur, but you're in this journey with them, is just, trust and believe that they're doing something that they really believe in, and give them time and give them grace to either really become successful or fail forward, right? Because sometimes you got to fail forward to get to the next level in the game anyway, and it's going to happen. But, your need is my need, is how I look at relationships. And so I think that was really insightful for anyone who's watching now or who may be watching this episode later, to really understand the dynamic in relationships while building a business can be challenging, and it comes with its own set of challenges that you have to go through. So thank you for sharing on that. And then the other key point you made in that whole moment was about not being local when it comes to your business, especially now because we have the internet at our fingertips. There's so many resources to get out here on a larger scale. And so you talked about being in Louisiana, but understanding that your business is in the rest of this world. Like there's business everywhere. And so being open to expanding, I think, is really important, especially what some of us in our community, when we come up with our business names, even we're thinking so small in terms of what that business name is going to be, because we're like, it's mine, it's my first thing out, I got to make this about me. When if you think about the bigger picture and think about scaling your business eventually, you want that thing to be universal. You want it to speak to the world. So I think that was a great point you made in being able to maximize your audience. And so going right into that, we do have a question. I'd love to get right to the audience questions since we are a live show. Do you feel funnels would be beneficial for clothing brands? And let's talk about funnel, and then we can answer the question.
Okay. You want to go straight to the question, or I'm gonna let you guide it?
A backstory in terms of funnels for those watching who may not know what a funnel is. I think that would be good.
Okay, yeah. So basically, a funnel is different people call them different things, and you got content funnels, you got sales funnels, you got lead funnels. A funnel is just a way to attract a person to one specific thing. Like when you think about a funnel, you want to think about, let's say right now, I just launched a book funnel actually today, right? And that book funnel is just one page that only talks about the book, where you click the link, you buy the book, and then you get access to the book. And so that's really what a funnel is. It's a website, but we call them funnels. And how I feel about for a clothing brand, it depends. If you have like one popular item that you want to get out, then I think a funnel will be good for that item. But if you want people to be able to shop like they're going to a store, then you don't want to do a funnel. You want to be set up with like a Shopify or some type of e-commerce website.
Perfect. So funnel more so in terms of strategy. Like I see a lot of them, like you said, when it comes to having a book, like an actual product, or some people do it for like their webinars, right? So it's pushing them to a source versus pushing them to actual clothing per se. But
Correct.
digital, would you say that, or can they do digital and physical? Like maybe it's a book that they get digital and
It
the
could be
upsell is the physical.
it could be digital and physical. Yeah, it could be digital and physical. But to your point, funnels really make it easier to connect with our content and with our marketing, so that when people go to what you're talking about, they see exactly what you're talking about versus, hey, sign up for my webinar, go to ramayatrash.com, you get the ramayatrash.com, and it's an about me link. It's website link, logos, branding, coaching, and you're like, where do I go to sign up for this class that he was talking about?
Okay. Okay.
Whereas, hey, sign up for my class, go to attractmoreclients.com and you go to that link, and now you get exactly what information we're talking about in the marketing.
Okay. So the strategy is keeping it, essentially putting it through a funnel, making it really clean at the end so your customer knows exactly where you're going. Great question, Angela, from the audience. And just in my mind, and Ramai can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking, like he said, if you have a specific product that you want to get people's eyes on, maybe you create a funnel where you can have a teachable moment in the background. Like maybe you teach on how you got the wholesaler for the product, and that's like your webinar, and then you push them to your website or something. A little creative, just off the dome thought that I had, but hopefully that helped you out, Angela. So let's get into content, because I think right now I know for me personally, I hear so many different strategies about content, what we should be doing on our pages, what type of content we should be posting. And so I know everyone has sort of their own experience when it comes to content, what works for them, what doesn't work. Just high level first, what is one tip that you would give to people out here trying to level up their game and content, like really high level, and then we're going to drill into some specific Ramaya strategies.
Gotcha. So from a high level, number one, you got to know who is your audience. Like you got to know your audience inside and out. Is it entrepreneurs? Are they black? Are they white? Are they young? Are they old? Do they make a lot of money? Do they make a little bit of money? Like you really have to stereotype and know your audience. And once you know your audience, you got to know that your content is not for you, it's for your audience. And so you have to speak to really three things, and I call it the rule of threes. You have to speak to their problems, you have to speak to their questions, and you have to speak to their desires. And if you could focus on those three things, like I know that my audience is coaches and entrepreneurs, right? And so I would say, what are three questions that coaches have that will help them to grow their business? What kind of content should I post? What topic should I talk about? Da 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 da. What are three problems that coaches have? They don't have enough clients. They don't know how to market online. They don't know how to use a CRM. And so now my content is talking to solve those problems, to answer those questions, and then to talk to those desires. So you want to hit six figures? Here's 3 tips to do 6 figures in your coaching business. You want to spend more time with your family? These are 3 tips that coaches need to have more time with their family, right? And so I kind of gave you the high level, and I gave you one of my tips too at the same time.
Yeah, I like it though. It worked for sure. Because to your point, one thing that I find is a lot of people don't know their audience. Like they have a general idea of who their audience is, but they don't have a specific idea of what that person looks like. And the other thing that you said, which was gold, is that people tend to make their content more personal and about them versus what is your audience looking for? What are the people coming to your page for? Like, I mean, I did a poll on my page once to just be like, why are y'all here? Right? Because I need to understand what it is that drives you here so that I can produce more of that content. So really good gold in that is it's not about you. It's not about posting a cute selfie, and it's not having a call to action that works for your customer, especially if you're an entrepreneur. If your page is about you and it's personal, then do as you will. But I'm pretty sure Ramaya, as a coach and as a content expert, would say, even in that situation, you still want to speak to your audience because they're the ones coming to your profile and looking for specific information or entertainment or what so have you from your page. So I think that was a great moment to share that information. And so if you're someone who like is providing a service, let's say, and you want to figure out some of the questions that you want to answer for your target audience, like where do you go to find out some of those key questions that people might be asking or want to know? Do you ask your audience specifically? Like, what's your strategy behind getting the information?
So definitely you could ask your audience, and I think you should. That makes for great content, polls and things in your stories. Of course, Google, right? You know, you can ask these things in Google. What are the top things that coaches and entrepreneurs are struggling with? What are the top things that insert your audience name? That's why it's important to know your audience. You got to name them too, right? So what do you call them? And don't call them something that they're not going to recognize. Like if I called you something other than Stizzo, you might not look around. But if I say, "Hey, Stizzo," you're gonna be like, "Huh?" You know. So I'm talking directly to you. And then I was hoping this would come up. Chat GPT, like
Yeah, we're
ask.
gonna get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
ask
go
Chat
right in. Yeah.
GPT.
Yeah. Especially now because times are changing so quickly. Like I was literally on This Is Nikki's, shout out to This Is Nikki's, her Instagram live last night, and she was going over some different platforms for AI. And I'm like, every week there's something new, there's something new. So speaking to Chat GPT, we're just gonna open it up because you went there completely fine. What are some of your thoughts when it comes to Chat GPT? Is it helping for content creators, or is it something that's pulling away from the true authenticity, right? Because for me, I'm a person, I speak to being who you are genuinely, organically, naturally on your social media pages, because people buy people before they buy products or services. So that's a big thing for me. But we have this tool, this platform that could really regurgitate or spit out whatever information you need at the drop of a dime. What's Ramaya's thoughts on Chat GPT?
All right, so funny story. Yesterday, me and my business partner, shout out to Alo, we was trying to do some work yesterday. Chat GPT was down, and we was trying to figure out like what are the 7 benefits of having a coach or something like that. And we just kept trying it, and then we was like, what did we do before Chat GPT? Like we just wrote it. We just went to our brains, and so that's what we did. We went to our brains and actually wrote the thing. So I think it's twofold. I think number one, we have to be really, really careful that it doesn't dumb us down and make us lazy. We got to be super, super careful that we continue to think. But also at the same time, if you learn how to use it properly, like I never just take what it spits out. I always kind of like tweak it a little bit and make it my own, put my personality into it. But I think it helps to spin the wheel and make and create things a lot faster. But I also believe this too. Not everybody's going to like stick with it. Like some people are gonna try it, it's gonna be a fad, and they're not gonna stick with it. Like I've heard several people say this, and I've been saying it myself. AI is not going to replace people. People who use AI is going to replace people that don't use AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I think overall it's a great tool and it's going to help benefit a lot of people.
For sure. Especially like you said, for me, it's a time tool. Like I look at it in terms of time. And also because I'm a texter and I've been texting like for how many years now, I speak eloquent ebonics, right? And so if I need to write an email or make something more sophisticated, I will use Chat GPT for that reason. And I think it's gold when it comes to that, but definitely buying some of your time back as an entrepreneur, because as much as we know the information that we want to put out here, sometimes it takes a lot longer to just write it out and put it together. And if you're not in a position where you can afford to get a VA in your business or someone else to bring on board to assist you, it'll help you buy your time back. But to Ramaya's point, be very careful and not letting it take over so much so that you lose your own thought process, your own intelligence, right? And I think that's a big part with the AI, is not losing your own knowledge and still being proactive about getting information, learning new things, and just, operating from your own source in a sense. Because I feel like low key they want to hold us down, right? And however they can hold us down or hold us back, they're gonna figure out how to do it. And this is one of those ways. If we're not smart about it, we'll definitely be lost in the game. So thank you for that. That was some good insight. And in terms of monetizing content, what are some of the like top, let's say top three strategies for someone to implement into their content to start actually making money from content? Like, how does someone get into monetizing their content?
Good question. So this is another three things, right? So you gotta make your content go from content to conversations and then to sales. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is they try to go from content to sales. Like you dropping your link in the content, or you saying, "Hey, buy my thing" in the content. That never works, or that rarely works. You have to be slow about that process, right? You got to take your time. So you create content that drives conversations. So your call to actions can be something like DM me the word boot camp if you're interested, right? Or drop a comment if this resonates with you. And then the people that are commenting and DMing you, now you go conversate with those people. And I don't mean here's the link. I mean, hey, how you doing? Let's be human. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for taking time to engage on my post. What made you comment? What was the favorite thing about it? What did you think about it? How is this helping you? You take the conversation further to you might be interested in this thing that will help you to take your business to the next level or to help you to get this transformation. And so it's a slower process, but it transforms and translates into more monetization than, hey, I got this thing, click the link in my bio and go buy it. That's dead. That don't work no more.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. That's good because I even had an aha moment where it's like sometimes we get into autopilot, right? Say we're pushing our new ebook or we're pushing a program, whatever it is that's going on that we're trying to your point, sell. We end up getting into autopilot and we're like, okay, this person responded back to the call to action for this particular thing that I want to sell. Let me just get right into it. But it's like, take it a step back. People usually take minimum 5 to 7 touch points before they even feel like they want to purchase from you. So it's like, how do you warm them up to those touch points? So I love that you said that. And again, content to conversation, which then leads to sales. So that's genius. It's about how do we create more connection points, right? Because content, the way I look at it, is all about connection points. How are we connecting to our audience to then turn them into conversion, then turn them into the sale?
Correct.
So I love that.
Let
And
me
then,
let me add one thing to that. Don't overlook as well, like lead magnets, giving away free stuff. That is a great way. Like build your list. A lead is worth more money in the future. I would rather get you on my list and you don't spend a dime with me until October, versus you come and spend $5 with me and then you out the door, right? Because now that you're on my list, now I have an opportunity to nurture, to send you value, and make all of the offers that I have for you as well. So don't overlook creating lead magnets, creating value up front, giving stuff away for free. And hopefully at the end of this show, I have an opportunity to give your guests something for free. But that is a great way to monetize in the future. You got money now and you got money later. I take both.
exactly. Yeah. And those leads that you nurture too can end up being good affiliate points for you because if they start to believe in you and your product and then eventually buy that, they're going to speak to it. Like that's word of mouth traveling. They're going to get other people involved. So yeah, you got to think future. So I love that you made that point. So what's some ideas that you have for creating, killer social media content?
Ideas for creating killer social media content. I kind of gave it already, but I'm gonna go a little deeper. So if you take those three questions, those three desires, those three problems, right, and you write those things out, now you can go into like a chat GPT and you can say, hey, give me, three topics that I can talk about that will address, coaches that need to get more clients, right? And it might say 3 ways to get more clients, 5 ways to do this, yada, yada, yada. You take those three topics and you can let's just take one of them. You take one topic, turn it into a video. You do a video. Hey, here are 3 ways to get more clients. Boom, boom, boom. Take that video, same script, send it out as an email, same exact script. Shorten it up, send it out as a text message, and say, "Hey, I just created this video. Go check it out on YouTube. Driving traffic to your Instagram. Um, Take the same topic, go live on that topic, and just talk about it. Now you can put that live on YouTube, Facebook. You can take that live, cut it up, chop it up into multiple pieces of content. Now I just took one topic and I repurpose it into a bunch of different places. And so now you don't have to think so much about what you're talking about. You got your topics. You just take one of them every day and spread it out. And that's a way that you can create a lot of content in a very, very short period of time.
Love that. And that's what I was looking for. So thank you for being a little specific on that, the type of content that people should produce once they have the information. So chopping that video up, putting it in multiple places, that's a good one for sure. I love that. I love that. And talking about where we're going in terms of getting to the next level of that content turned into conversation, right? Because we want to be able to get the conversation to then turn into conversion. When you were thinking that you made your first 6 figures, it was time to scale, what was like the first thing that you realized in your business that you had to do in order to meet that scale level that you were going into?
So it was kind of two things I had to do. One of them was learning how to borrow traffic from other people that already had access to my clients. So they may, like this podcast, for instance, there may be people watching this podcast. You guys don't build websites, y'all don't do automations, but somebody watching it does websites and automation. So I need to figure out, how can I partner with people? How can I conversate with people, or even do business with people? Like, I have an accountant, and I hired her. She's my CPA, but she sends me business. So I didn't just hire a CPA. I hired somebody that would also send me lots of business. So joint ventures, partnerships, collaborations, those are key. And then I also had to learn how to start selling one to many, right? Versus one to one. And those who don't understand that, one to one is you jumping on a call, one person at a time, and you talking about, hey, what's your problems? Here's my solution. Do you want to buy it? 10 calls a day. You just spent 10 hours and you wore out, versus now learning how to do a webinar, a masterclass, a mini workshop, invite 50, 60 people in, teach them a thing, help them get some results, make an offer at the end. And that helps you to scale, get more people in the door at one time, and you're less stressed.
Because it comes with the stress level
Yes.
for sure. So speaking of that, what's something that, in looking back, retrospect, if you could talk to Ramaya, 10 years ago and say, don't you do that, something that you learned through failing forward that really actually helped the business in the long run?
Wow. It would definitely be build your brand online a lot sooner. Like, jump on these social media platforms the day they come out, and build your brand online. I would tell myself to go live more often, right? Like, it's free. It's a free broadcast. Like, just put your information out there, and share what you learn. Don't hold, like, I used to learn, and just hold the information to myself. But now I realize that the more you share, like, as you learn, you earn if you share it, right? And teach more people how to do the thing. Those would be some of the main things that I would tell myself. And to get out of the city more often. Like, go to conferences, go meet people.
Yes, absolutely. It's all relationship building and networking. So I agree with you 1,000%. And get on live, get out there. And so, as someone who's a speaking coach, I teach people how to create impact and owning their story. And like, the important thing is talking about your business, right? And I think within our community, we've been taught that sales can kind of be a negative thing, right? It can look like we're begging. And at the end of the day, if we're in business, whether we sell a product or we sell a service, we have to sell every single day. And it's not a bad thing. That's the point of having a business, right? Why start a business if you don't want to sell that thing that you're so hyped about, that thing that you love, the reason why you started it to begin with. And so I love that you said that. Get out there more, get on platforms that can really build that digital footprint and grow that brand awareness, because if they can't find you, they don't know about you, whose fault is it, right? It's like, what can you do to change that? So I love that you let the audience know that for sure. So what I want to come to right now, Ramaya, is talking about what are the things that you have going on and how can the audience get in touch with you and learn how to grow and monetize their content to build their business.
Good deal. Yeah, so I know that this is live, but it will live on forever. So I mean, I do have a content creation boot camp that's coming up, but if you want to know about that, like just follow me on Instagram and you'll see that information. But the one thing I want to do is I have this thing called 9 posts in 9 minutes that will basically break down the strategy that I talked to you about with the rule of threes and show you exactly how to spread your content out. And if you just go to content4days.com, and it's all spelled out, content FORDAYS.com, you can download that absolutely free. And that's the main thing. I am on a mission to help 100 coaches and experts to build a six-figure coaching business this year. And so if that's you and you need a coach that's gonna guide you, hold your hand, walk you through it, let me know. Reach out, hit me up on Instagram, and let's start a conversation.
Love that. Love that. And I have to ask, is Start Brand Grow your book?
Start Brand Grow is my book. Yep.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about it, because I saw it there and I was like, maybe I'm tripping. I didn't have my coffee yet, so it might be on the bookshelf, but I think that's a digital picture right there.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Start Brand Grow is actually the steps that I went through. It's 11 things that I learned on my journey to building a six-figure business. And so it's basically all of these things, like, changing your environment, grinding daily, increasing your confidence. So it's a lot of mindset stuff. And then it goes into the strategy. So it talks about like the different types of funnels that you use, how to build your personal brand, sales versus marketing. And it's for entrepreneurs who want to build a six-figure business, and it walks them through. It's basically a blueprint.
I love it. So listen, y'all, a couple different touch points that you can really level up your game and monetize your content with Ramaya. One, he has his book, Start Brand Grow. So definitely go to his Instagram, check out his links to get that book. And then make sure you go to contentfordays.com, because that's your freebie. 9 pieces of content, 9 different ways you can utilize it within 9 minutes. So listen, you can't say you don't have time. This is about taking imperfect action. We are the Imperfect Action Show. So I want to thank Ramaya for coming on today, dropping some gems about not only mindset and getting yourself positioned correctly in your business, but some of the things you really need to do in terms of monetizing your content, changing the game, and tips and strategies. So if you just got here, go right ahead and rewind this episode. Watch from the beginning. If you just found us, go ahead to the beginning. You're going to get some great information. So thank you again, Ramaya, for being here today. Y'all, this is another episode of Imperfect Action Show. We'll see you on the next episode.